we have an exciting video today. We are making fall flavored baked goods and we're making them in the air fryer. So my air fryer is preheating already. So this is gonna be a good one. The first one we're going to start with is some apple bars. I've made this recipe a ton of times. You put a crumble and then any type of jam. So we're gonna use some apple jelly because I have that open from when I did a game night. I'm going to start off by spraying this pan, and I'm of course doing small batch recipes because that's what'll fit in the air fryer. Whew, got that right in my face. All right, so let's get everything into the bowl here. We need a 1/4 cup of sugar and 3/4 cup of flour. The air fryer's ready and we're not ready for it. 1/4 teaspoon of both powder or soda? Yep. 1/4 teaspoon of both baking powder and salt. Now this is a little interesting. We just need half an egg. So I am going to get an egg into this little bowl and then we're going to scramble it and then add it in. Whoa! Ha! Did you see that save? Okay, half of this going in here. Seems about right. And then I need half of a stick of butter cut into small chunks. So let's see here we go. Now the recipe said to cut these into like 1-inch pieces and then use a pastry cutter. I think it's going to be easier to just cut them smaller from the get-go. We'll just use this same fork. And that's as simple as it is for the base of this. And then all we have to do is make the filling, which depending on the type of jam you have, you could just put it straight in. I have apple jelly and I just want it to be a little bit more fall flavored. So I am going to add some other flavors to it. All right, I think that we are combined enough. So I'm going to get some of this into the bottom, most of it actually, probably all but like 1/3. And we'll save that other part for the top. So now I'm just going to press it down in and then we'll get our jam on it. Jelly, it's not jam. I am going to just take about, let's see, it called for a 1/2 cup. So I'm going to do probably about a 1/4 cup because that's half of the recipe since we're halving it. And here's what I want to add. I want to add a little bit of molasses and a little bit of cinnamon to give us a fall flavor vibe. Okay. And I'm just going to take like a small little bit like that. Mix it together. Look at that. Now it has a nice like fall looking color. And you could use any jam that you want. So you do not have to use this specific flavor. Give it a little taste. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that tastes like an apple pie. Okay, get this all in here. Was I supposed to bake the bottom part first? I've done this a lot of times and I'm thinking I was supposed to and I didn't, so. Oh well. Okay, crumble this on top. All right, into the air fryer this goes. I don't know how long it'll take. It said about 45 minutes in the oven for the regular version, but this is a tiny one, so we'll see. Okay, it's smelling so good in here. I have the air fryer going. It's only been going for about 10 minutes, but it already smells delicious. We are going to make a pumpkin coffee cake with a streusel topping, which seems just incredible. Of course, we're doing it small batch. This is not a small batch recipe, but the way to make a small batch recipe is just to make less. So I'm going to cut this recipe in half as well, and we will put it in the air fryer. Now, I do love using my air fryer for baked goods. I typically don't do a bunch all at once, but I've been really wanting a bunch of baked goods, and I've been wanting to use some things up. So I have some pumpkin that's already open that I need to use up. The jam was already open. It's not all the way used up, but it's part of the way used up. And what I would normally do is put it in the oven, and my oven's broken. So we're using the air fryer, and we're doing small batch, and they're all cutesy. So let's see. I'm going to try to do this on the fly, cutting this down. So we need a 1/4 cup of milk, which on the fly is 2 tablespoons. So I did thaw out some milk, and I think it's about 2 tablespoons. I just guessed. Oops, 1. Oh my gosh, it's exactly 2 tablespoons. That's fantastic. I literally just broke off chunks of milk that was frozen, and I'm like, that's about how much I need. What else do we need? I need same amount of maple syrup. Where is it? Right here. And then a 1/4 cup of oil. So 1, I should have done the oil first and the maple syrup would have come out. 2, and then we need 4 of the oil. One. Let me double check that. Yep. 2, 3, 4. And this recipe did not call for an egg, which was really weird. Gosh, there's so much stuff everywhere. I also need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And my trick with brown sugar is if you keep it in the freezer, it'll always be nice and soft for you. You might have to set it out for a little bit to thaw, but it never gets hard or dried out. Am I supposed to pack this? It's packed now. A cup of canned pumpkin, which is going to end up being a 1/2 cup because we are doing this in half. Oops. A little heavy. I don't want it to be too moist. Got it. I love pumpkin flavored things. I just made pumpkin energy balls that I haven't made since last year. It's so good. I'm gonna add some pumpkin pie spice to it. I need a pinch of salt and then a bunch of cinnamon. Pinch of salt, cinnamon. And then all that's left other than the streusel topping is dry ingredients, which is a cup of flour and a teaspoon of baking powder. Powder soda. Every time. It's powder this time. What do I have? Still powder. I think I would figure that out by now. Okay. You know, doing these in little batches, I actually do them in little batches often because otherwise you would have like a whole thing to eat. And with only 2 people, that's like 5 pieces of coffee cake, which we don't need 5 pieces. I mean, granted, doing all of them at once, we're also gonna have a ton, but I think I'm gonna freeze some and eat them throughout the season. Okay, let's get this into here. There was no egg in this recipe. I thought that was very weird. I even double checked. No egg. This would be easier if I was using a spatula the right way. For the streusel topping, I'm just going to put it in here because I think that'll be just fine. We need 2 tablespoons of flour. Let's see, about 1. I mean, no one ever complained about a little extra, right? Okay. Also, about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Close enough. Two tablespoons of, is this all 2 tablespoons? It said a 1/4 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of light brown sugar, 1/4 cup, or 4 tablespoons of butter, which is also a 1/4 cup. So it's a 1/4 cup around the board, but I am cutting all that in half because we have the recipe. So there we go. 2 sticks of sticks. That would be crazy. 2 tablespoons of butter and some cinnamon. Just cinnamon, not pumpkin pie spice. All right. We're not gonna listen to that. Now I should have cut up the butter first, but you can do it now. All right, I think we are good. Let's get this sprinkled on top. Oop. Might need to clean off the bottom of that. A little overzealous. That's okay. Let's put this in the queue and check on our apples. That actually might be just about done because it's looking browned. And so let me get this tidied up. I'll take that out, put the other in, then we will be on to the next recipe, which is also going to be a pumpkin recipe because I need to use up the rest of the pumpkin. All right, let's see. This has been going for about a half an hour. Oh, look at that. That looks so good. And the bottom, yep, the bottom's a little golden as well. I should have cooked the bottom first, but I didn't. Look at how good. Okay, let's, musical chairs, the desserts, put this one in, and I need to increase the time. I don't know how much time that'll take. It won't take 30 minutes, but my nose will tell me when I need to look at it. We have the coffee cake that's going to be light and fluffy, and then the pumpkin bread that'll be dense. So we have some completely different style things going on. We need an egg. So let's get that egg in here. Now this recipe is already cut down, and I need 2 3x5-inch pans, and I think that's how big these are. So we are ready to go there. So I need to just follow the recipe. So we're going to do 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Oh no. You guys, this is not how I usually cook. I usually clean as I go, but when I'm going to keep using the same things, that's about a 1/4 cup packed. I need them out. So there's no reason to clean it up if I'm still going to be using it. But this is like a disaster of things everywhere. 1/2 cup of pumpkin again. So we're getting somewhere with this pumpkin. Oh. Whoops. And then a splash of vanilla extract, which, whoops, that's a little more than the splash, but I have imitation. Give this a mix and we'll add the dry ingredients. We need 3/4 of a cup of flour. We're gonna make this work. Okay, that's about it. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder and only like 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. So just a tiny little bit. Yep. So I'm doing half of this. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, which to me just looks like this. To my heart's content. Is that everything? Sure is. The only thing that's left is the cinnamon sugar swirl. These are not my baking dishes. These are my like meals for work dishes, but they're gonna work out just fine. Okay, no, I'm just supposed to put them in and then sprinkle on top and swirl it in. So I don't need to do anything special with like putting half the batter in and then putting some of the goodies in it. Okay, let's see if we can eyeball this. Half here. These bowls really need a handle. Let's see. I have a little bit left. How are we looking? Maybe this one. All right, cinnamon sugar time. All right, let's just sprinkle this on the top. What am I doing using that? This is gonna be easier, just like this. This one didn't get close enough to the edges. I think I might have went more than 3 tablespoons. I was just thinking, oh no, I didn't half it, but this recipe we're not having. Okay. Do a little bit of swirlies. Alrighty, let's get these in the queue. And they'll be next in to bake. I didn't turn the camera on, but I just took the coffee cake out of the oven or the air fryer and it looks delicious. And then I was able to get both of the pumpkin breads right next to each other and in. Okay, this one might be the last one. We'll see. It is a pumpkin snickerdoodle, so another pumpkin. All these are pumpkin, but you know, I had pumpkin to use. We're actually going to double this recipe. It's a small batch, but I have 4 tablespoons of pumpkin and the recipe calls for 2. So I'm just gonna double it and I will freeze some of the cookies. That's my plan at least. So we need the 4 tablespoons of pumpkin and then it calls for butter that's been melted and then cooled. So I melted half the butter because I was originally going to do a regular recipe and the other half is not melted. So I feel like that's kind of what we need. Whoop. Might be a little bit hard though. Now it calls for an egg yolk and I have half an egg here. So my thought is this will be fine. We're gonna use that half of an egg from whatever we had an egg in. We need a 1/4 cup of sugar and I need to refill. And then 1/4 cup of brown sugar as well. Close enough. By the time that's packed down, we were probably right. I just realized that I'm doubling this recipe, but I've only doubled the pumpkin. I guess I did double a few things. Okay. We're gonna add a little bit more sugar. I'm glad I caught that now. Need a pinch of salt. And then some cinnamon and pumpkin pie spice. So now we need 2 cups of flour. We're doubling. I'm gonna have to refill the flour too, all the things. One and 2. So we need 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, which I don't want lumps in it, so I'm going to just kind of push the lumps out. And then 1/4 teaspoon of cream tartar. Wait, that 1/2 teaspoon was turned into 1 teaspoon. I did that right. I'm doing them right in here, but I'm saying them wrong. So there's our cream of tartar. And now I need to mix this in. I'm gonna mix the dry ingredients together a little bit first. And that's, whoa. And that's our whole dough. We do need to roll it in some cinnamon and sugar, which I've already prepped, same way we did for the last recipe. This would have been good to use the mixer, but originally I was just going to do that small batch and I wasn't going to need it. Like, can I just use my hands or is it going to be way too sticky? So we do have less egg than we should have, but I think we'll be okay. All right, I think I'm going to just make all of these into balls and then we will freeze however many we need to. These are gonna be so good. A Snickerdoodle is my favorite kind of cookie. Now the recipe that I usually follow hasn't been turning out so great, so I'm hopeful for this one. This is clearly not the recipe I normally follow because it has pumpkin in it. So I'm just going to get them all rolled out and cinnamon sugared, and then as soon as we have space in the air fryer, I will put these in. I just checked on our little cakes and I think the temperature might have been a little too high for them. Sometimes it's a little hard, or not cakes, but quick breads. A little hard in the air fryer sometimes to know the exact right temperature, but I usually just pick the bake function and go with what it says. This is making it feel like fall. Now it's a little warmer outside today than it has been, but fall is in the air. So I got 23 cookies. So a half batch would be, it's probably supposed to be 24 is how many I should have gotten. So I think 12 cookies is the small batch for this. So let's check on the bread. See, this is just doing some really crazy, weird looking things. Don't know what's going on. We're gonna leave it in there. But in the meantime, we can get some cookies ready. I am just going to bake up 4. And then I'm gonna pop the rest in the freezer and let them flash freeze. Okay, I think these are done, and now it's just time to do the cookies. Look at that little cake. I think that's probably enough time for the cookies too. Let's get these in. Well, we're gonna stick them all in the middle and then spread them out. Okay, we'll see them in a bit. Okay, see these guys. You know, I think that's all the things are now through here, so we can turn this guy off. All right, we got them all done. These are the bread. These are the cookies that just came out of the oven. We have the apple one and then the coffee cake. All right, here they all are. They look fantastic, and we don't have like an abundance of sweets at least. I feel like one 9 by 11 pan is, well, probably a little less than this, but at least we have so many different options. So I am so excited about all of these. I'm not going to taste test them all because that's a lot of sweets, but I think I will eat a cookie because I just love cookies. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you haven't yet, please subscribe. If you're interested in some other air fryer meals, I will put them up over here. I've done a ton of things, breakfast, dinners, you name it. They're delicious. Oh my gosh. I can't even. This is better than a regular Snickerdoodle. Oh my gosh. I am so glad I doubled that recipe. I'm gonna try to not eat all of those. Okay, bye!